It is indeed recording. Hello, people! It is I, Knight, and along with me is Kyo, for another Loot Crate opening reveal. Unfortunately, this time, Kyo doesn't have his yet. Because his is still in shipping. It said it was in Kent, right?
Yeah, 4 days it took to get there.
I
You
don't
know?
know what's keeping yours slow, to be honest, because mine came in, every day it moved. And it was always updated, so I always got the update. And then my friend who really was trying to get the December crate, and I guess he ordered it a little bit too late because he didn't get that, but they charged him anyway, so he got the January crate, which is kind of fucked up. But he put the cancellation almost immediately the night that he was trying to get the December one because he realized he couldn't get it. So he didn't get the December, but he did get the January, and he actually liked the January one because fuck the December one. The December one sucked outside of the fucking Funko figure I have right here.
Yeah, it was pretty weak.
Yeah. But this month, it did get better. Now, this month's theme was called Rewind, and it was very 80s themed. So, we're expecting a lot of 80s feel here, and I kid you not, none of this stuff is anywhere remotely 90s. It's pure 80s for that. But, the one thing that they were kind of teasing was that they were going to put a Rubik's Cube in there. They were teasing this on Twitter, and I was going to flip if they did that, because I hate Rubik's Cubes. They're fucking impossible to solve. At least for me. So they didn't put that in there, so I'm happy about that. So anyway, let's get this started. I've already seen the contents of this. So let's start off with what they did announce. They've already revealed two things. One, there is a t-shirt, and two, they've revealed that there is a comic, and that is the Star Wars item. Unfortunately, the Star Wars thing is all the way in the fucking bottom, so you're not going to see that for a little bit. But if you've already looked on Twitter and online, you'll see what it looks like already.
Yeah,
So it's nothing
they've
new.
done away a good job of already ruining that for everyone.
Yeah, and to be honest, that was the worst thing. But again, that was not really Loot Crate's fault. That was Marvel who did that. They are the ones that revealed it. And I understand what Marvel was doing because they wanted to sell it. But fuck you. I wanted that to be a surprise. And that is the Star Wars item. There is no other Star Wars things in here, which fucking sucks. I was hoping they wouldn't do that. But at least it was the first issue. That was a bonus. But anyway, let's get to the t-shirt. So, t-shirt, obviously, is black. As soon as I unravel its thing, you will see that it is very hard to see, first off. And mainly because it is a blueprint of Ultron.
Neat. That's pretty cool looking, yeah.
It has Japanese lettering on the top. It's really hard to see again because it's black and light blue, but it's very thin. But it looks very nice. Obviously, I got a triple X because I'm a big guy. So, yeah, that was the big item. But you can tell that if this was the most expensive item, that it really wasn't that expensive. You can kind of tell that right off the bat when you look at it. There's not a whole lot of paint being used, so I wouldn't even put this as like a $25 thing. I would think it would be like 15.
Yeah.
They didn't use a whole lot for this one. This one was very cheap. And excuse me, but it's getting warm in my room, and I need to turn off my heater because it's fucking cold outside otherwise. All right, and so let's move on. The next thing they did, since it's right in my hand anyway, the pen, which they're getting better with these pens, I swear. This time it has the tape and it says rewind, which was the theme thing. They're getting better with these, slowly but surely. But anyway, let's go with the first thing that I did not expect to see in this. It's what they call a comic notebook.
Comic notebook.
It's a pocket notebook that's designed for comics, and you get to make the comic.
Huh.
Now,
Well, those of us who can actually draw would be happy.
yeah, that's the problem with it though, because I'm pretty sure not everyone here can draw. At least draw great. Most people can draw good if they tried, but it's a very difficult process, especially with something as small as this. If it was bigger, might have a little better chance. That's just me. But yeah, that was the first thing that I kind of seen that was a little bit of a surprise. It's not bad. Um, Something to do as a hobby, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next thing, which I've seen this advertised on their website before, which I kind of thought was like, why would anybody want them? They gave us sunglasses, 8-bit sunglasses,
Huh.
just so you don't have the glare.
That's interesting.
It's an odd thing, isn't it? I don't mind them. They're fine, but they look uncomfortable to wear, but they're not. It's weird. The fact that it's orange and black, just very odd color combination. I understand that's part of Loot Crate saying they're always orange and black, but you know, I'd like to see this in varied colors besides orange. I'm just not a big fan of the color orange. That's just me.
I'm gonna go with the not bad.
It's not a bad thing, no.
That may kind of fit over glasses, because otherwise I can't use them, but...
No, you ain't gonna be able to use these. This barely fit my face. Now I'm gonna go with the item that they also promised, which was kind of a video game reference with a mashup. Now, when I originally thought what it was going to be was something like, oh, Mario crossed with maybe Pac-Man or Sonic or Mega Man, possibly. That isn't it. It's an NES cartridge.
It's a tiny NES cartridge.
Yes, but the cool thing about this is they are references to movies. Now, I know it's going to be a little hard because I haven't taken it out of the package, but if you take a good look at that, it says Alien Attack. Take a good look at that alien and think a moment what movie it's from.
Well, saying as the only thing I really make out well is the head, I'm gonna go with Mars Attacks.
And you would be right, sir. Now, I took a look at the booklet, which is right here, by the way, which... Just on a side note, the very back of it has an NES controller, which is quite nice. But I took a look at the notebook to see if that was just the only thing we got, because me and my friend who got his on accident got the same one. Turns out they have 6 of these. And there's a potential chance that you'll get a gold cartridge variant. Out of the 6... we have 2 of them being references to Back to the Future. One is called 1.21 Gigawatts and has a rabbit on it. And it looks like the Back to the Future cartridge. I'm not even joking on that. The other Back to the Future one looks like a Legend of Zelda thing, where the shield of the Legend of Zelda cartridge is actually the flux capacitor.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And that's the gold cart that they show here. I don't know if that's just the only one. I think they all have a variant of a gold chance. The other one that they reference is... the other ones they reference, I should say, is Corbin's Alley. And it has an alien from the Fifth Element. So take a guess where that's coming from. Another one, which I know that you would want it, Kyo, is a reference to not only a video game, but a TV show. And the video game it's referencing is Dr. Mario. The TV show it's referencing is Doctor Who.
Neat.
And it shows Cyberman and Dalek, plus it shows the 12th Doctor. least that's what I believe it looks like. Looking like Mario and stuff like that. And he has a sonic screwdriver. Now, the other one, this one is the one I cannot figure out what it's referencing. I still haven't quite figured it out. It calls itself Fire Hunt. And it looks like it's from space. And I don't know if you can see it that well.
Is that a mountain?
What? That?
Yeah.
Right there. It looks like a spaceship.
If it's a mount,
I don't know. That's the only one I can't figure out because I got everything else right. But Fire Hunt was the only one I could not figure out for the life of me.
Was Dante's Inferno the 80s?
I don't know. I was born in '88, so I don't know. So that if anybody knows what the Fire Hunt thing is, please tell me, and I'm sure maybe Ashens will know. So we'll find out then if no one tells us by then. I'm gonna open this up just to see if they have like a little thing for it. As you can see, it's a little small NES cartridge. What else is in there? It doesn't have anything else with it. Well, that's fantastic. It does come with a version of an NES Zapper, as seen right here, which is actually quite nice. And it's basically you put it together similar to like a Mr. Potato Head kind of thing. I'm not even joking on that. That's what it reminds me of. And it's kind of bent for a reason, I think, to make it more like cartoonish. Let's see if I can actually put it
Probably
together.
to help it stand.
Yeah, which is actually rather nice. I don't mind this. I can make it there. I just like the fact that it's Mars Attacks because that's like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I think. Can you go in there? There you go. And the last arm. I hope that stays. So that's basically what it's going to look like overall. With the gun, you just put it in, I guess, one of the hands like so, and voila, you're done. That's what they look like. It looks small, but I do like the reference, and I think that's this is the only movie besides the Fifth Element thing that references the 90s. Outside of that, everything else is 80s. So, yeah, that's not bad. It stands up pretty well. I'll keep it over here where it's out. Off the thing. And then the true surprise. This one is the one I don't understand outside of what it's referencing. You'll see a box. It's a little black box.
Black with a white
Take
tie.
a guess what it is. What?
It's a white tie on that.
Well, yeah, there's a white tie. It looks like an exclamation point. And you would be right. It is a tie. It's just Space Invaders.
Interesting.
It's a Space Invaders black tie. Which, not bad, but why? Outside of the reference, I don't understand why you gave us a tie.
Because Space Invaders was from the 80s.
Outside of Space Invaders, why give us a tie? I don't know.
The store was having a sale. I don't know.
It was the one that I was like, what? Of course, the one problem trying to get a Mega is the freaking comic out. Now, like I said, Star Wars thing. It is the first issue of, I guess, this particular series. Shows Han Solo and Chewbacca, and it is Han Solo from the movie, because they did a really good job to make him look like Harrison Ford. They are carrying crates of Loot Crate with different languages on it. and it looked like it's from the movie. It's done very, very well. Um, Problem
Yeah.
is, if this wasn't spoiled to us, I would enjoy this more as an exciting thing. The fact that it was kind of ruins what it was supposed to be, because a loot crate is usually supposed to be a surprise thing. You're not expecting to know what's in it, outside of what the theme is. You know what you could speculate upon. I remember the October crate being kind of similar in that respect because I remember Curse.com revealing on Twitter that they had something that was Smite oriented in there. They didn't tell us exactly what it was, which kept that kind of idea like, okay, if it's Smite, it's probably a skin, but we don't know what kind of skin it would be for a character in that game.
Yeah.
So, at least that was it. What Marvel did, because Marvel created this, is they straight up revealed what it was.
Yeah.
Cover and all. And I understand maybe they were trying to maybe sell it, try to get people out there to see the very first issue, because that's what this is. This is the first issue of this series. I don't know if it's a brand new series or if it goes back to an older series from when it came out.
Probably it's new because wasn't the comic series being handled by a different an independent company altogether?
I have no idea. That's I don't go into comics, so I don't know, and especially Star Wars comics because I've never seen them. But it kind of ruins that reason of having a loot crate, especially when we were thinking about Star Wars. I was thinking, this is a chance to redeem themselves from the Galactic crate because Star Wars got shafted in that one. They got a fucking magnet, and that was it. Well, that and a poster. And that poster was just Hanzo and Carbonite. And that, as good as it looked, I was just like, it's what, $5? This, maybe more, because A, it's Marvel, and B, it's Star Wars. It's a variant cover. It's probably worth maybe $10. That's pushing it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just a variant cover. It's not like it has any extra stuff in it.
It says $5 on here.
Oh, that's the price then.
I just looked. It says $5 on it. Right on the label down here. It probably will sell more on eBay.
Oh,
Thing
I
is,
think it's going for quite a bit. Star Wars fans can be quite fanatic.
I'm sorry. This is a problem with most comic books that come from Loot Crate, is that unless they're not revealed to know what they look like, they typically suck. This one doesn't suck. It looks really nice. I like the cover. It's the same thing with last month's crate with the Batman cover. I like the cover. Problem with it is that it was revealed. So it's not as special as it should be. That's the only problem with it.
I wonder if that came with one of those codes that you can technically redeem it on the online one somewhere.
It doesn't say that.
Oh, it'll probably be on the back though if there is somewhere.
It might be. But still, it's just meh. And normally you don't want to take it out of the plastic. You want to keep it mint. That's what most comic book collectors do.
I don't collect, I want to read.
I don't collect them either. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't typically want to read comics. I'm not a comic book reader. But that's pretty much it for the Loot Crate. Outside of what it looks like inside. And they did it again. They didn't put the Konami code in.
So they're just foregoing the Konami code then?
Yeah. But they did make it look like an NES. And this is the only part that looks like an NES besides there. Outside everything else, it's black. It says Loot Crate. That's it. It does have the share, document, and enjoy thing, though. But, yeah, this one didn't have anything special inside. I don't know if they just weren't allowed to use Konami code again. I don't know. It's weird why they don't have the Konami code in it.
Well, that's basically public domain, though.
I know. But yeah, that's pretty much the crate as a whole, by the way. It doesn't look spectacular. I wasn't expecting it to be spectacular, though. Especially after they kind of blew their wad last month. Um, Going into this, if this wasn't spoiled, I'd probably have more appreciation for it. That's it. This is probably the only problem with this crate massively. Um, the black tie is still kind of confusing why they gave us one. I mean, I understand it's referencing Space Invaders. That part I like. But why a tie?
Everyone needs a tie.
I just don't understand it. Of course, there's that. Comic book thing, I can see it being useful, but at the same time not. It's a very specific audience that can use this.
I feel like a majority of people cannot use that. Problem.
Yeah, well, no, it's just so small. That's my issue with it. That's just mine. I have big hands, for fuck's sake. This thing can fit like this to me, and I just don't like small things to draw on. I'd rather have a nice, decent sized piece of paper that I can actually kind of draw something on it. Because I usually like to have it bigger, not smaller. I understand what the point of this, though, is. It's kind of to doodle real quick and make your own little comic book. But unless you know how to draw very well, it's probably not going to work. Put that in there. Yeah, I don't get it.
It's a bit. What's not to get?
Outside of it being 8-bit, wasn't the 80s kind of more or less nothing like these glasses?
Oh, those are actually probably more like 16-bit, and technically that's the 90s.
Yeah. Well, late 80s too, but the 80s
like
didn't...
16-bit mimicking 8-bit.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they kind of threw these in. This was kind of something that... Hey, no problem. It's much more comfortable than the freaking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones. But those ones were actually more stylized. I don't mind these, but I just wish it was different color. I wish they randomized the color a bit. And B, I still don't understand why you put it in this crate.
Oh, probably because the style fits.
I don't know.
Style fits. But yeah, they really should have put a pair of aviators and then just say, we're referencing all the 80s movies that had aviators.
Well, wasn't that like Blue Blockers as well because of Arnold and stuff?
Yeah, Blue Blockers.
Those ones made sense. This didn't make sense. These ones are like 90s glasses. I understand it's supposed to be rewind, and there are some 90s style stuff in here. I mean, this is still 90s, even if you look at it. It's just that these were kind of like the random item that I didn't understand at all. Like, even at this, as much as I didn't understand why they gave us a tie, I understood what it was referencing. I understand it was part of the 80s. That's what Space Invaders was also a late 70s thing. I understood why this was in there as a game cartridge. It looks... The hell? It has a caution on the back. It says, do not run, do not act, do not panic. That's from the fucking movie. Sorry if I random pause, but that's what it says. I'm not even joking.
It's great.
So,
that's wonderful.
You might actually want to look at the back of this while you're at it. But yeah, these ones are just the random things. I do love the figure. I think this is probably the best item in my opinion because of what it references me growing up on an NES. But on top of that, having it reference a movie or TV show is even better.
Yeah.
It is kind of the nicest item to have, and you like I said, I know I talked to Keo and I talked to Dread about this. We all kind of had our own suspicions what it might be. We never thought this. This was like
No.
way the fuck out there. So this was the least expected of all. We knew it was going to be a video game thing. We just didn't know it was going to be this. And then there's of course the T-shirt. The T-shirt is probably the best item of all. As much as I like the figure, this is the one that I probably use the most. I don't plan on using these. I'd look stupid up there. This was in the early 90s, maybe not as stupid, but no. I could never wear these. If I ever had a business job, I wouldn't mind wearing this tie. It's a decent tie. It's all black. It's perfect for the business. It's a little casual, but it's still perfect for the business. You're not destroying any code. It's black and white. You can't be destroying anything. So yeah, this crate, little bit underwhelming, but much better than last month in terms of quality. This wasn't like giving you a paper wallet. Huh?
Definitely better than last time.
Yeah, this isn't like giving you a paper wallet and a do not disturb door stopper thing, you know? This one actually gave us some, at least, everything in this thing was probably worth at least $5 at least. Everything. You know? I could probably see this tie maybe a little bit more, maybe like $10-15 because it's a tie.
Yeah,
And-
ties tend to go a bit pricey.
You know, and the shirt obviously is at least $15 because A, Voltron, and B, it didn't use a whole lot of paint. So I'm not thinking of like this shirt, which this is probably worth about 25. That's the major difference here is that this one's a lot cheaper than this one. And then on top of that, this being as good quality as it is. And apparently this comes from blacktiegeek.com. And stuff like that. The comic book, I can see this being about $3. Only because it's a booklet of paper.
They might have a price tag on the bulk of them.
No. It doesn't.
Hmm.
It depends where stores sell it if they have it. I've never seen a store actually have something like this.
Yeah, I didn't even know such things existed.
Neither did I. Apparently, it comes with a stencil for like little thought bubbles or speech bubbles.
That's
Which-
interesting.
Well, that's just so people don't fuck it up. But the problem with this is that isn't comics done on computers more or less nowadays?
No, some are still hand drawn, but yeah, there's still
Well,
a
no,
lot-
I'm not talking about like I'm not talking about like how they draw the characters because that part is hand drawn. They just scan that in there. I'm just saying like the thought bubbles, the way it looks like on the paper. They actually kind of make sure they size it into it, and then they put the thought bubbles and type it because it's Comic Sans terms of text
yeah,
they put on that.
Yeah, I think it probably is a lot of that computer stuff with that.
So, like, I understand what they're trying to do, but the stencils to make that, it's really hard to write in something this small. You almost have to be like having a microscope in there and just make sure you got it in there and all that you wanted to say because these things are very small. They're not open enough, and that's the problem with this. This is why I wanted, if it was anything, this to be about maybe 3 times the size of this.
Well,
Not
yeah,
thick, but wide.
comic-
Yeah, about a comic book size. This is a mini comic book, which is fine if you do it at a factory.
But even
It's not
Ochi-
fine if you hand draw.
I think even Ochi comic books were bigger than that.
Yeah,
And they were
and
pretty
usually
small.
thicker because this is like 64 pages. It's weird. I haven't even opened it. I wonder if it's already got hand-drawn stuff, but it looks like you draw it by yourself. If I can open it, that would be nice. There we go. Yeah. See?
Hmm.
It's literally that. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, it's stuff you do yourself, except there's a punch out that they didn't punch out here. They left that. Okay. Everything's blank inside. It's a blank comic book. It's okay. It's not bad, but it could have been bigger. And it should have been bigger. At least have people write. Because stencils that fucking small maybe give you 1 or 2 words in it.
Yeah. You probably get a few, but it's annoying.
Yeah. I don't mind it. I mean, I guess it's good for the theme because 80s comics were a big thing. I know that. And even early 90s. But
I think even today, comics are still pretty big, though.
yeah, but they're not as big as they were back then.
I think the movies have surpassed them a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say this is probably about $3. This is probably the cheapest of all the items, and even at that,
It's not bad.
it's not bad. No, it's miles better than a freaking doorstop. So overall, I'll give this crate 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's above
It's
average.
It's above average. There's something in here that you're gonna like. There's something for everybody. The comic book is for artists and comic book lovers. The figure is more for gaming. The people that love Voltron, there you go. You got the shirt, and that's probably the best item of the whole thing. The people that like Star Wars are gonna want to read that book. The people that do have a business and were a fan of gaming as well would love this tie. You know, there's something for everybody, and that's the cool thing about this one. That was kind of the worst thing about the last one because there was not really much there. Even when they were trying to advertise it, there was not something for everybody. Everything sucked in comparison to what was the best items of the whole thing.
Loot Crate's at its best when it concentrates down on a few things.
Which this one only concentrated on 2 things, which was Star Wars, Voltron. That was it. Even if you look at the Mega Crate. Mega Crate didn't have any of these things outside of Voltron and Star Wars. And I think Star Wars was a Lego thing.
Yeah, the Loot Crate was weird because it has a laptop and a camera.
Yeah, and the laptop's like a $230 laptop with Windows 8.1, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's touchscreen or not. I doubt it, but it was a small laptop. I think it was like a notebook.
Some HP, I think.
It was an HP something. It was a small one. It was not a very big laptop. It was like 13 inches, I think. And then you had the freaking camera, which was an $850 camera. That was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, if you like photography, that'd be a pretty nice get.
And then everything else was just kind of like thrown in there. Like the Voltron thing was a figure. It was a giant version of the figure of Voltron.
That was like a $300 figure, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a 270 to 300, somewhere around there. And then you had the Lego being the Star Wars thing, which is actually quite nice. And then there was the other 2 items which kind of were thrown in. They're not memorable because they were just kind of thrown in last minute. Let me see if I can actually find it through the book though.
To be honest, this might be the first Mega Crate which doesn't really have anything I really care to win. I guess
Oh, okay. I know what they did. They basically they had HP Stream 13-inch laptop, Horizon Blue colored. It was $315. They had the Toynami diecast Chogokin Voltron 30th anniversary light up collector set with base. So the Voltron lit up. The Lego Star Wars thing was Lego Star Wars Death Star, which is a $400 thing. Which, by the way, that one's probably the best thing you can get. Then they had the camera, which was $850. First off, it was a Canon EOS Rebel T5i 18.0 MP digital camera. I'm not gonna say all those because there's a lot of numbers, and you guys are gonna get lost.
I know that's a very good camera, though, for what you get.
Yes. The next thing that they put up is a gaming system. It's a retro gaming system. It was a 5-in-1 retro gaming system, and I think what it plays is NES, Super NES, probably 64, Genesis, and I don't know what the fifth one is. It had to be a cartridge.
Oh,
probably Master System. Well, either Atari or a Master System.
Well, Master System is Genesis.
I mean the one before it. I can't think of it.
I don't remember what came before the Genesis.
Mega Drive. No, that's it. Mega Drive was for the Genesis, wasn't it? Because the Sega Master System was the previous system, and the Mega Drive was Genesis.
Oh, Sega, you confuse me.
Yeah, they had like two of them that were back to back with the letter M in there, so it was one of those two. And then the sixth item, say what you will, but this is a Blu-ray, which is like $77 of all the Star Wars complete saga from Episode 1 to 6.
Not bad.
Now, it's not horrible. Now, I've been one of those guys who says Episodes 1 through 3 wasn't bad. Are they horrible in comparison to 4 and through 6? Yes. But they're not bad.
They slowly got progressively better from the first one.
Yes. If anything, the first one was probably the worst of the first three. The 1 through 3 ones. It was probably the worst of them all because it broke a lot of what we already knew about Jedi and stuff.
Child actors.
Yeah. So, a lot of people bitch, piss, and moan about the prequels. I'm sorry. It's something you shouldn't be bitching about, ever. You don't know shit. The person who created this was George Lucas. It's canon now. You guys are going to keep complaining, pissing, and moaning. It's still canon. You can't argue with George Lucas. He's the one that created it, for fuck's sake.
Now Disney gets to set the canon. Let's see what they do with
yeah,
it.
well, we'll see what they do with that for now. But at the moment, yeah, those people that are bitching, pissing, and moaning about how George Lucas ruined Star Wars for them, you're complaining in deaf ears. He created this years before you guys could complain about it, so shut the fuck up. I'm tired of hearing it, by the way, too. Because it's been talked about since 99, I think. Right?
Yeah.
The only time there's only one that I could actually bitch about on this is Episode 6. Because they changed Anakin in Episode 6. In the Blu-ray version, at least.
The most changed versions of all of them, you know? Of those original 3, this set has the most altered and supposedly refined of all of it.
Yeah. That's the only thing you have a reason to bitch about the Blu-ray set. That's the only reason you have a
George Lucas decided he needed to improve stuff
and he did slightly. He did slightly. It's like if he left most of the movie alone. This was the 1997 or 98 set trilogy when it was remastered. I think it was like the 20th anniversary. I think it was 97, where they brung back the first 3 and they put it in a box set, and it was either, I think it were just VHS at the time. They didn't have DVD yet, and basically all he did was just like he added some CG to it just from the background. He didn't do anything outside of that and clarify some of the pilot windows and stuff like that. He did small variants, and not many people bitched about it.
But
It
after
was
that,
everything
it's like-
afterwards.
It's like, was at least 2 more updates, and then this? Then the package, like, which did more?
Well, let's see. They changed a lot of stuff. Like I know that in episode 6, they had changed the Anakin character, the actor. Like the original actor was not in it when they put it in the Blu-ray version. They changed it to the what was his name? Christian something. Guy who played Anakin. Yeah. No.
You're gonna just say yeah, though.
No. It was Christian something. I can't think of his name.
Did Bale?
No.
I just
Hayden
thought all the
Christensen.
actors-
Hayden Christensen.
Uh,
I couldn't
alright.
think of the first name. It was the one that was kind of going through it. But they changed that. That was the only thing they changed, and people went nuts because they did that. And
Also,
rightfully so, because that was probably the most out of place thing they ever did.
well, that and they made the no at the end of the 6th movie.
There was that, and I think there was one other thing. It involved Jar Jar.
Did they CG add him somewhere?
No, but you hear his voice in one of the endings. I don't remember which ending. I think it's actually episode 6's ending. When everybody's celebrating that the Death Star's been destroyed again. And that the Sith Lord, Darth Sidious, is dead. Or Palpatine, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
that's when everybody is celebrating. In the background somewhere, you hear Jar Jar and people bitch about it. I'm like, are you seriously complaining about minor things? I mean,
Well,
that is such a minor thing to complain about. Is people that pissed off about Jar Jar only? I understand that was the worst part of episode 1, but are you that really pissed off at Jar Jar that you have to complain him in episode 6? Because Jar Jar didn't necessarily die.
No.
You know, they stopped writing him after the first movie. He was no longer a part of it. You seen him in the second movie, and I think even in the third. But that's it. You didn't speak to them. He didn't talk. He was not there. So you guys are pissing and moaning about nothing. That's how I look at it. Yes, he was the most annoying character, I'll admit. But he wasn't as annoying as a lot of other characters from other movies. I guarantee you that. I've heard worse.
Yeah. No, they have been some bad characters.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for those people in the fan base, because I know it's like heresy to you guys. But I've done this to Street Fighter fans, I've done this to Sonic fans, I've done it to a bunch of other fans out there from Loot Crate's past. There are things that you bitch about for no goddamn reason, and you need to shut the fuck up. You just do. It's something that's like 5 years old now. Get over it. Move on with your lives. But yeah, that's pretty much Loot Crate. Any thoughts, Kyo?
No, that was decent crate.
Yeah, it was a far better crate than last month. Let's see.
That, though.
It's still weak in a lot of areas.
Yeah, it's not an exciting crate.
No, it's a fairly boring crate. It would have been more exciting, like I said, if Marvel didn't reveal what the Star Wars thing was. No one expected a comic book. That was the first thing. None of us expected it, and then Marvel comes out and says, "Hey, you want to see what it is? Here it is. You see the comic book? It's Star Wars. It's got a variant cover. Look at it. Look at it!" And they're just like smacking you in your face with it. And I'm like, well, A, thanks for spoiling what was in the crate, and B, thanks for ruining it. You know, that's the whole Star Wars item. Well, now I don't even want the thing. Because if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going into it like, that's it. I'm expecting maybe a figure, or maybe, I don't know, a keychain, freaking voice modulator. What? You're expecting something other than that. Because this is another thing where I feel like Star Wars kind of got the shaft. Given its number one issue, given it's made by Marvel, given it looks great, not enough for it. It's better than the last time they used Star Wars. I'll just say that. Star Wars got shafted in the Galactic Crate. Voltron, obviously the better of the two items that were announced for this crate. It's a t-shirt. What's not to like? As for everything else, hit or miss. It depends. It's meant for specifics, and that's the problem with it, I think. It's designed for, like, if you're an artist, you're going to like that comic book. If you're a person that likes to collect video game memorabilia, the tie might be something you like, but you're probably going to want that freaking figure, more or less. If you're a business person that you work in a business that uses a suit and tie kind of thing, you definitely like that freaking tie right there. Especially if you grew up playing on 80s systems, like with Space Invaders in it.
So anyone can play Space Invaders now.
Oh yeah, it's a well-known game, but I mean, if you grew up in the 80s, especially if it's part of your childhood, you're gonna love something like that.
Oh, the arcade machines.
Oh yeah, and I played Space Invaders on arcade. I managed to find one of those. It was lucky. Found it at a Pizza Hut randomly. So yeah, I was expecting a little bit more. I was expecting maybe a Pac-Man thing in there. I was expecting maybe a Mario item in there, not necessarily an NES cartridge. I was expecting a little bit more 80s style stuff, because the way they pegged this whole thing from a little video that they made and everything, it looked like it was going full-blown 80s.
So, why no RoboCop then?
You want a RoboCop? I'll give you RoboCop. There's your RoboCop.
RoboCop's the 80s.
Well, so is Judge Dredd's the 90s then. By the way, people, these did not come in a loot crate, obviously. If you remember back with the freaking Galactic Crate, with the box, with the Firefly figure, I ended up finding those boxes at a hobby store. The blind boxes, same things. And this is what I got out of it. I actually got the Judge Dredd and RoboCop figures out of it. So, hooray! I just want to mention, though, they're exactly the same fucking character. There's no difference from them. Just one's from the 80s, the other one's from the 90s.
One got a good reboot, the other didn't.
That's true, actually. But to be fair, though, even though one got a good reboot, don't you prefer the original?
Yeah. You just can't replace Sylvester Stallone.
It's really hard to depict that, because I think this is they're actually depicting the Sylvester Stallone version. I don't think this is from the other one.
The remake had much more tamed down uniforms.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they look exactly the same. They act in almost a similar pose. There's no difference between them.
Twice.
Yeah. Although, if you gave Sylvester Stallone the idea of being Murphy from freaking RoboCop,
he'd probably take it.
Yeah. And do very well. Hell, I kind of want to go so far as seeing Schwarzenegger could pull off a RoboCop, but it's really tough to say that. Only because
he could have done it though.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
but
have been
then
bad.
I'm reminded. There's the one problem. I'm reminded when he tried to do something similar to a looking like RoboCop, and that was Mr. Freeze. So I'm like,
There
that
was
remi-
more issues with that
Oh, I
movie
know
than
there was more than that, but I mean, you have that mental thought in your mind. It's like, how would he look? And I immediately think of Mr. Freeze.
yeah,
So
maybe someone who's actually shaped like a human being should be able
yeah,
to do
yeah. But anyway, yeah. I understand these are not part of the crate. I just wanted to put them in there because I got them recently. Um, yeah. For those of you who have not gotten their crates and you watch this, I hope you do get lucky with the cartridge thing because, like I said, there is a chance you can get a gold cartridge, and the gold cartridge is supposed to be one of the 6 variations of that. Like I said, there's 2 of them that are Back to the Future themed. One of them that's Doctor Who themed. Another one that's of obviously Mars Attacks. Another one is Fifth Element. But the 6th one, I have no idea. Fire Hunt still kind of just is over my head. I'm missing it. I don't understand what it's coming from in terms of reference. If you know, please post below in the comments because I have no idea. And if you do get the gold one, well, sell it on eBay because you probably make some money out of it, I guess. Because that's supposed to be the super rare one. I do know that the 2 Back to the Future one has a bunny. That's the 1.21 gigawatts design. And the other one will look like a Legend of Zelda cartridge. It just will have, instead of the shield, it'll have a flux capacitor with a shield background. So keep on the lookout for that. You'll see it in the book if you don't have it. So yeah, that's pretty much the crate. I hope you enjoyed, and see you later.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yep.